Welcome, everyone. That's a tap. And we have the preview for you for UFC 278 with my man DJ. Really looking forward to this one, DJ.
Yeah.
I know you are too.
Yeah.
Give us give us your initial thoughts. What are you looking forward to the most?
It's a big one. You got the pound for pound number one fighting, so it's always exciting. It's a big rematch in the making for such a long time. It's been ages since they last fought. And obviously they've both grown leaps and bounds, and obviously it's for that coveted welterweight title. So quite excited for the card. There are some other fights that are exciting as well, but nothing excites me more than breaking these fights down with you, CT.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And we will say this, this sort of leads into a huge stretch. I think for the next 3 weeks, it really got me excited.
Yeah.
Because we got this one, and then we obviously next week is Fight Night Paris, which is basically a pay-per-view in my opinion.
To be honest,
it's better top to bottom than this card.
I think pay-per-view, the Paris is not next week, the week after, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 3rd of September.
Maybe not the next week, but it's the next event.
Yeah, the next big event. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and then of course another pay-per-view 279.
279 is coming up.
Yeah, which they're looking to add more to that. But yeah, this episode's all about 278.
Yeah.
This weekend, we're going to be watching it actually together.
Yeah, we're going to be a bit, tipsy, most likely when we're watching it, but it adds to the fun. But hey, let's give a shout out to all the combat sports that are happening this weekend, because it's a big weekend. Because we got obviously UFC 278. We got the massive rematch between. It's like a weekend of rematches. We got the rematch between Usyk and Joshua taking place as well down in the Middle East. We've also got the bare knuckle fight between Michael Venom Page and Mike Perry as well. So there's a few things happening, which is exciting. But obviously I'm more keen for this card, and obviously to also find out what's going to happen with Usyk and Joshua. Will it be the same result, or will it be something different? But we'll talk about boxing in a different episode, I believe. So here we go. UFC 278. Personally, I think it's a very top-heavy card, right? You got some notorious names up at the top in the main card, which is great, obviously, because it's part of that pay-per-view. And then you still got some really good fights throughout the card. But like I said, I'm looking forward to that main card, especially the main event. And let's start from there. I think we got Kamaru Usman, pound for pound number one welterweight champion, taking on Leon Edwards, the next contender who's about to challenge for the title. What do you think are his chances of, dethroning Usman?
Yeah, look, I give him a good chance. I think he's always been a bit underrated.
Yeah.
He's had disruptions, with injuries, stop-start. He lives on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
He got pieced up by Jorge, which made him famous.
Oh, yeah, pieced up like outside of the octagon. I was a bit confused when.
Yeah, and, he became a bit of a meme, laughing stock kind of dude. Yeah. But I always say this, DJ's timing is everything. And I think, people are actually really excited for this because Usman's been around the block and he's defeated everyone. And it's like, okay, well, this could be Rocky Edwards' chance now to, we always say timing is everything. Yeah. And this could be his moment to shine.
Yeah, correct.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at this title fight, whenever you're fighting Kamaru Usman, who's currently the number one pound for pound and also the welterweight champion, you're not just fighting for that championship, but you're also fighting to dethrone that title of being the pound for pound king. So it's a big fight, obviously a big task as well. He's one of the best fighters in the roster. And Leon Edwards obviously has taken his time. He's had a string of bad luck. Let's not forget he was set to fight Hamzat 3 times, and all 3 times the fight fell off. And then he got Bilal Muhammad, and then that ended in a no contest because of the eye poke. And obviously then he fought Nate Diaz. And then also, like I said, it's just been the story of his career where one small instance just takes precedence over everything. I mean, I think he was dominating Diaz for the whole fight, but that last moment in that fight where Diaz caught him was the talk of the town. Yeah. I guess what happened in one of those UFC London cards way back when, Masvidal did that 3-piece, the infamous 3-piece, right? I think it took away from, like I said, it just became sort of a laughing thing, whereas it took away from what good a fighter he is. I think he's an elite striker. He got that kickboxing background. And we know Usman's comes from a wrestling background. And that was evident in the first fight when they fought. Let's not forget they've already fought, right?
Yep.
And Leon was having a lot of success on the feet against Usman. And then we saw him starting to fatigue Leon Edwards, that is, and then Kamaru Usman's grappling took over, and he started to dominate the fight more, and obviously got the victory. Let's not forget they were very, very early stages of both their careers, right? From the fight being a grappler versus striker to now it's evolved to two mixed martial artists. Really, I mean, we've seen Usman striking, right? It's been amazing. We also were able to see some of the grappling work and takedown defense of Leon Edwards against RDA. So they've both grown leaps and bounds in the department they were considered to be weaker in. So now it brings that mixed martial arts contest. They both seem ultra confident. There seems to be no disrespect. I think there's a lot of respect between each other. I'm actually excited because I do think outside of Colby Covington, Leon Edwards is probably another guy who can, challenge Usman a lot. When you got such a dominant champ, you do want to see those challenges, right? And that's because if it's going to be too easy, you kind of lose interest as a viewer, right? As a fan. But nothing to take away from the dominance of the champion because that's how good he is. He's making everything look easy. So look, it's going to be a good matchup. Okay, it's going to be a tough fight. I just don't think it'll be very technical, right? I think there'll be a lot of reads, right? I don't think Usman's going to be as inclined to strike with Leon. But having said that, let's not forget he knocked out George Masvidal. Who's a very good striker himself, right? I think Usman's shown that every time a challenge is presented, he rises to the challenge. He's slowly cemented himself as not just a pound for pound great, but also an exciting fighter, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to take this?
Yeah, look, I really, really want Leon Edwards to win. I'm not trying to sound like a Usman hater as well. I love a bit of change every now and then. Like Usman. What would it mean if he just wins this again? It's like what? Okay, it's like what's next? But also the fact, like you spelled out, Edwards is adversity he's been through, so much, and I think it could be ultimately come down to a guy stylistically who and shape and length wise could give him the biggest challenge. Well, so this could have been the guy all along. I think to really take the belt from him. Of course, I pay complete respect to Usman if he gets it done again, and we'll put him up there as the pound for pound, and arguably one of the greatest of all time. But he's got to get through a great fighter. He's got to get through Leon Edwards and all the challenges he's going to give him. I really hope Edwards. I hope there's no whole sort of false starts with eye pokes or any incidents.
Could you imagine? I'm still fingers crossed.
I hope we just get a great fight, 5 rounds as well, and it just goes to the judges. But I'm going to say it's closer. It's really, really close, but I still think Usman probably wins. What about you?
I also think that Usman wins this fight. Just because of what we have seen, again, like I said, anything could happen in a fight, but based on what we have seen so far, we've seen more of Usman than we have of Leon, right? So he's probably been working in the background anyway, sharpening his tools, but we've seen Usman go out there and compete and, take the best of the best, and he's been taking all these number one contenders, Colby Covington, George Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, right? So I do see that, and then his confidence and where he's at the moment, I just feel like, this is his time, and I think he's going to get the victory again, I feel. I believe it'll be a decision as well. But also that sets up one of the exciting fights I really want to watch, which is Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Yes.
Provided he wins against Diaz, obviously. But, that's another exciting fight, right? Like, this new challenge that's rapidly rising through the ranks and terrorizing the division, and you get this great pound for pound fighter who's the champion sitting at the top. So that collision is going to be exciting as well. But hey, having said that, if Leon Edwards were to win, there's still more exciting fights on that end as well, and we'd get to see that Masvidal rivalry put to bed properly inside the octagon, and there's some other exciting fights there too.
Dare I say, if Leon gets the win, we'd probably see a UK stadium show on the horizon. That'd be their perfect trigger.
And let's not forget as well, right? we're talking about, like, this is hypothetically speaking, if Leon were to win the fight, right? We are talking about a champion who's held the belt for so long and had so many defenses. So I think the immediate rematch is going to be on the table, too, just like we saw with Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, right?
Yeah.
So I think if Leon were to win, the ideal route they'll go is that immediate rematch.
Yeah.
But if Usman were to win, and I think Dana's already talking about it, is that comes up fight, which I'm all down for, man. I can't pay all the money in the world to watch that fight. Like, I'd love to watch that fight. But okay, so we've both got Usman. All right.
Yeah.
We got co-main is a banger of a fight. They're calling it the battle of the handsome men of the UFC. So we got Paulo Costa taking on Luke Rockhold, obviously the veteran, you know, previous former champ, and obviously Costa being a former challenger and losing to Adesanya. So Costa's coming in with a losing streak. Right? He lost to Adesanya, then he lost to Vittori. There's a lot of controversy there, to be honest, with the weight cut and everything. You know, Costa said, like, you know, he wasn't committed to the weight cut. We never thought we'll see him at 185 again, and seems like he's back. Then we got Rockhold. You know, he's probably, we've seen, you know, him on the receiving end of some bad losses. Again, he's coming in wanting to prove a point. He's saying he's going to do one last run at the title. Look, Rockhold's one of the most talented fighters that you'll ever see in terms of one of the best well-rounded fighters. His striking is on point. His grappling is one of the best in that division. Right? If he were to win, I think it's really good for the division, because we got to start thinking of, you know, the champ Adesanya. He's obviously fighting Alex Pereira, but, you know, who else is there to give like a new challenge? You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, Rockhold brings that excitement. But having said that, you know, Paulo Costa is no easy task. He's a monster. Right there, we saw, you know, let not those losses to Vittori and Adesanya take away from the fact that, you know, he's a pressure fighter. He comes forward and he throws bombs, man. Like, you know, that fight against Romero was insane. Yeah. Right? And he's just demolished some of his opponents. To be honest, I was quite surprised that they went with this, given Luke Rockhold's been viciously knocked out a couple of times, like some power hitters, right? So I don't know. But look, it's an exciting fight. It's not going to be a boring fight. We know that neither guy is going to stand back and, you know, watch. They're going to go for it. And we're definitely getting a knockout. It's going to be a fireworks fight.
Yeah, completely agree. I think just for entertainment wise, you know, it makes sense why this is a co-main. Yeah. You know, it ain't really like two guys that are coming, you know, hot on form or anything, you know, like, you know, on their way to the top, you know, rising up. Yeah. But, you know, for a pay-per-view co-main, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Like you said, it just should be a classic barn burner. Yeah. And one guy, you know, to me, I'm looking for Costa to really make that statement.
I think so too. Yeah.
You know, he's been, you know, obviously teasing, and you know, he's got still potential, but he just needs to come up with an emphatic win. Yeah. And get back on the right foot. You know, get his momentum back up. Yeah. So start making some more exciting matchups and fights with him again. Yeah. But that's my prediction. Yeah. What's your prediction?
I think, look, you know, Costa is a great fighter, right? Like, I think before his loss to Adesanya, there was so much expected of him and so much potential. So look, I'm gonna say Costa as well. I'm actually gonna say it's gonna be a first or second round knockout. You know, I think he's gonna catch Rockhold and he's gonna put him away. So
we'll probably both be wrong, and Rockhold.
Could you imagine? I mean, it's happened, right? Like, we could sit here and predict Hamzat to beat Diaz, but Diaz could submit him in the first round. You never know, you know. So it's unfair any other fight game. But yeah, my prediction is obviously going to be Costa by knockout.
Yep. Okay. And then really a fight where I think this is going to have a bit of, you know, future talking points. Yeah. You know, with Jose Aldo.
Yeah. The King of Rio.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, the UFC is on record, you know, close to booking a you know, trying to look into booking a Brazil card.
Yeah, it's booked now.
It is?
January. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they booked it for January.
Yeah, so you would have to think, you know, there's no way they would go down there without Jose Aldo.
I mean,
so, and then this division, the bantamweight division, is absolutely like it's scorching, right?
Man, absolutely. There's two divisions that are on fire at the moment. Yeah, it's bantamweight and it's lightweight. They're two great divisions. That, like, you know, it's evenly spread out. You go all the way down to number 10, you've got a good fighter still there, like, who can still challenge for the title and make a difference. So yeah, like, I think those are two of the best divisions, and we obviously talk about bantamweight here. King of Rio, man, like I'd love for him to win, to be honest. What a legend. He's been fighting for so long, from the WEC days. And to be able to, if he is able to capture gold here, like, I mean, could you imagine that, being such a dominant featherweight champ? Because obviously a win here, I would say for Aldo especially, would set up a title fight with the winner of TJ and Aldo. And I think and the timing works out perfectly for that Rio card, which would be a perfectly written script for the UFC. You know what I mean? Bring the King of Rio to Rio. Like we know the amount of fans he has there, right?
Because obviously South America, they could put Cheeto's next fight as on that card.
There's so many things they could do. They could do Cheeto, they could do Glover, and I think they're aiming for Glover Jury for December, I feel. So yeah, there's so many things they could do, you know. But look, it's a tough. It's a tough fight. Merab's a grappler predominantly, but obviously, he's from the same gym as Aldo, right? I mean, he's talking about going down to 125. If because he doesn't obviously want to challenge Aldo because they're friends. And we got Aldo, like obviously the classic kickboxer, but he's got really good takedown defense as well, and he can hold his own in the grappling department. So, look, it's an interesting matchup. I think it's a tough matchup for Jose Aldo, especially given the form that Merab's been on. But it'll be interesting to see, if Jose Aldo is able to go in and implement his game plan. You know what I mean? I mean, those kicks, those body shots, right, and slow him down. Do you know what I mean? And then, sort of have his way and 3-round fights, all right? So if he's able to do that, that would be great. Let's not forget, Jose Aldo's already challenged for the title. Yeah. Right? They fought for the Waken title, Jan and Aldo, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Jan dominated the fight, but, I think the winner of this should fight Cheeto.
Yeah.
Right. But look, it's a two-part thing, right? If I think Aldo wins, let's give him a title shot. I think he's done enough in the sport to deserve that.
Yeah.
Right. I think give him one more shot at the title, and then if Merab were to win, I think Merab and Cheeto would be a good fight to determine the number one contender. Do you know what I mean?
I'll be happy with that. So I think, just given his age, and you got to think that this is his last tilt at it,
And how many more of these weight cuts can he do? I mean, he used to be a guy who fought at 145. I think he's mastered the cut because he's not struggling with the cut, and his performances have been great, right? Other than the one loss to Pirian, where he looked, he got dominated. Other than that, he's been quite durable, having cut all that weight, and he seems to be, be able to manage his energy well as well. But look, what's your predictions?
Yeah, I got to think it's a tough one. I think it goes 3 rounds.
3 rounds.
I think not one guy is more going to dominate the other one.
Yeah.
But I could see Aldo, given what's ahead of him, pulling it out.
Yeah.
Aldo, just sets it up. It sets it up perfectly. Great storyline.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Rio card, they want him going in hot and off a good win.
Yeah.
And if you said they've already locked in that Rio thing in Feb or
January,
so that's perfect timeline and really not that too far away.
Yeah, true. And I think,
what about you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pulling for Aldo here as well. I think he'll get the win. I think he just has to go in and fight with a nothing to lose mentality. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then just be himself, be the fighter he is. And I think I probably think he puts him away. To be honest,
okay.
Like maybe I'm not going to say which round. It's going to be hard, but like it'll definitely be a finish. I feel. From Aldo's end, that's as said. And then we also got one of our own Aussie fighters fighting as well.
Yeah,
we got Tyson Pedro taking on Hunsucker. And it's a light heavyweight bout. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like this fight. Actually, good way to open the main card.
Yeah,
I will say, just note that they did do a little last minute shift. They took Tabora off and put the female fights in the main card as well. The Tabora one was on the main card initially. Well, so with this one, the Hunsucker and Tyson Pedro opens the card. It's exciting. Light heavyweight. Guys are going to go after it. yeah, with that said, I think it'd be great, for an Aussie to pick up the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give the slight edge to Handsucker.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you feel?
Oh, man, I like Tyson Pedro. I think he's an exciting fighter. Obviously, he's been away from the game, but he's come back and he had a very dominant win in his last outing, right? Yeah. It was one of those prospects who were rising up the ranks really quick. Great striking, great ground game, really good fighter. Obviously, an injury happened, which was unfortunate, which kept him away. I think he had the longest layoff.
Yeah.
Right. Even more than Dominic Cruz, and then
that's what's tough. Why I think activity is hard, but his talent could definitely
and let's not forget he trains with the CKB guys as well. You know what I mean? So from West Sydney, obviously, look, I think what he showcased in the last fight, there was a lot of hunger displayed, and I think the way he went about that fight and the way even how he carried himself afterwards showed that he's hungry to go up there and climb the ranks again. So I think that's just going to drive him. I feel like he's gonna have a clinical performance, to be honest.
Yeah,
and I believe he'll get the win.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting.
Be great. Yeah, great tone setter.
Yeah,
as well. And of course, the other fight on the main card. What do you make of this?
I'm going to be very honest. Like, I'm not quite familiar with
Yanan versus Pudilova.
Yeah, either fighter, but look, if they're putting that fight in the main card, there must be something that they know that we don't. So maybe they're both very exciting fighters who are going to come in and bring the heat.
Well, it's the 135, so they're obviously working on. We had what's her name, Pena and Nunes. They want they want more shine.
Yep, correct. Although I'm a bit surprised that they didn't up the Miranda Maverick fight, because that's a more well-known fighter. She's in the prelims.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, there must have been a reason that is.
Yeah, bear in mind they took Tabura Romanov. 2 names.
I mean, they always want to get a good fight to end the prelims as well. Like they call it the feature bout of the prelims.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably why that move was made.
True.
But look,
I mean, the main card's strong enough as it is with the 4 other fights. I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if some of these unknown fights are the ones that deliver as well, like some of them are underrated, and then they just come out and then deliver.
Also, this is Salt Lake. Is there any reason why there's a connection? Why they set this for Salt Lake?
It was quite odd, because I thought, like, given Usman's fighting, and then I would have expected it to be in Vegas. But look, it's just I believe it's UFC's plan into expanding their fan base.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's the first time they're going there.
Also, actually, if I think logistically, man, San Diego last week to Salt Lake, it's basically very, very, very close. It's similar parts of the country.
Yeah.
So not far for them to move.
Yeah, I mean, look, UFC always works with a plan, right? So let's see. I think, look, overall, I do believe this card will deliver, right? By the time we get to the main, I think even the fights that are in the prelims, they're going through, because what we're seeing more and more happen is the fighters wanting to go out there and put on a show, right? They're seeing these guys who come and do that, get rewarded, right? I mean, obviously it has a cost of its own as well. Like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know what I mean? Like, you could get knocked out, and that's probably what you'll be remembered for, right? So, but it's just does bring about exciting fights.
With that, I think it's about, if you don't get knocked out and you're able to put on a great show, you're both likely to get a bonus now. I think that plays a lot. You look at the pay. And that's one thing we could quickly touch on is California cards. The pays are revealed. DJ, did you catch any of the pay?
Yeah, I did.
There was some huge, and we could talk about it more. For another show.
I did see the pays for the last fight card. Chito Vera. And all that. There were some interesting numbers there.
Very from top to bottom. I mean, Angie Hill got crazy pay. Because she obviously got the win.
She got the win, so you get the win bonus as well. I think it comes based on what you're contracted for, your base pay, to show. That's your base pay. Your base rate is your show, and then everything else is considered like a bonus. If you win, you get a bonus. If you perform really well, you get a performance bonus. You know what I mean? Like, I think 50K is enticing, and the fact that UFC have been a little bit more generous with handing it to more than two people, right? Usually the setup used to be two performances of the night and one fight of the night, whereas now they're being a little bit more, open with it to say, look, you know what, if we had 6 great performances, all 6 of them get it. You know what I mean? So, which is rightfully so. I think that's just a better way and more enticing for the guys as well. So,
incentivize. That's why we're getting real good shows now in terms of like you said, guys just going after it. And and you look at how many actual fights there are. If 2 or 3 are actually great fights, then they'll give out 3 fights of the night.
I mean, there's more. Like, the UFC have shown that they're open to giving out more bonuses if the performance is warranted. So, all in all, it's going to be a banger card, right? We're going to be coming out of a crazy weekend and going straight into watching this card. So quite excited. Quite excited to also have a drink with you over the weekend. And maybe we might drop a bit of a drunk episode with some of our crazy takes. Do you know what I mean?
We'll have a few reactions. Maybe we'll have a new champion. Maybe there'll be a new awarding the strap. You never know. A lot of things to set up, and we look forward to actually recapping it. When it's all said and done. That's all for this episode on That's a Tap.
And until another episode, that's a wrap. See you guys.
See ya.